Therefore, this is L into what is d square q by dt square minus omega square qm into sine omega t plus theta plus r into what is dq by dt omega qm into cos omega t plus theta plus what is q by c 1 by c into qm sine omega t plus theta. This is equal to Vm sine omega t. Now we will simplify this whole equation like this. Now please see. Omega qm minus omega qm sine omega t plus theta I took minus omega square qm as minus omega qm sine omega t plus theta into omega L plus, and this one omega qm into r cos omega t plus theta plus that is qm sine omega t plus theta by c is equal to Vm sine omega t. I am taking omega qm as common in the whole equation of the LHS side. Omega qm as common. What we can write? R cos omega t plus theta plus, and here also omega L minus omega L into sine omega t plus theta. What about this equation? 1 by omega c into qm sine omega t plus theta. Is equal to Vm sine omega t. Now, omega qm into r cos omega t plus theta. This is 1 by omega c into sine omega t plus theta. This is omega L into sine omega t plus theta. So what we can write here? We can write xc minus xl into sine omega t plus theta into qm. Now I am taking omega qm as common in the LHS side of the equation. Therefore, if I took omega qm as common, so what we can write? R cos omega t plus theta minus omega L sine omega t plus theta, and here also qm is already common, so we can write 1 plus 1 by omega c into sine omega t plus theta is equal to Vm sine omega t. Therefore, the equation turns like this: omega qm into r cos omega t plus theta minus or plus 1 by omega c. Here also sine omega t plus theta is common. So therefore, we can write plus 1 by omega c minus omega L into sine omega t plus theta is equal to Vm sine omega t. Therefore, we came to the last part. Omega qm into r cos omega t plus theta plus 1 by omega c minus omega L. It is xc, it is xl. into sine omega t plus theta is equal to Vm sine omega t. This is the simplified form of this whole equation. So we got omega qm as common, r cos omega t plus theta plus xc minus xl into sine omega t plus theta is equal to Vm sine omega t. Now we are solving this whole equation by taking r is equal to and xc minus xl is equal to different terms. So we got an equation like this, omega qm into r cos omega t plus theta plus xc minus xl into sine omega t plus theta is equal to Vm sine omega t. I am multiplying and dividing with z on the LHS of the equation. Multiplying and dividing with z on LHS of equation. So multiply with z, omega qm z into r by z into cos omega t plus theta plus xc minus xl by z into sine omega t plus theta is equal to Vm sine omega t. Now let us write r by z is equal to cos phi and xc minus xl by z is equal to sine phi. What is the reason? Our first work is to simplify the equation as simple as possible. So omega qmz into cos phi into cos omega t plus theta plus sin phi into sin omega t plus theta is equal to Vm sin omega t. So the bracket part, which is in a form of cos A cos B plus sin A sin B. So cos A minus B is the solution of this equation. Therefore we can write omega qmz into cos omega t plus theta minus phi is equal to Vm sin omega t. Now we are going to the comparison from LHS to RHS. So qm omega z is in the shape of Vm and cos omega t minus phi by 2 is equal to sin omega t actually. That means we can write theta minus phi is equal to minus pi by 2. So we got the equation like this. Qm omega z into cos omega t plus theta minus phi is equal to Vm sin omega t. Now I am trying to compare the whole equations. Vm qm omega z. Vm is equal to qm omega z, where z is similar to the resistance. That's why what is Ohm's law? Vm is equal to Imz. Therefore Im is equal to qm omega. This is the one equation we got. Next one, cos omega t minus pi by 2 is equal to sin omega t actually. So we can write cos omega t plus theta minus phi is equal to sin omega t. This is the actual equation we got and this is the actual rule. So by comparing this one we can write theta minus phi is equal to minus pi by 2. Therefore theta is equal to minus pi by 2 plus phi. So these are the solutions of the Im and theta. Now we are going to substitute these two in current equations. So we got the equations like this. I is equal to Im cos omega t plus theta, or Im sin omega t plus theta. We already got the solutions for Im. What is Im? Omega qm. That's why we can write qm omega cos omega t plus theta, or qm omega sin omega t plus theta. And one more thing we have got like this. And we got Im is equal to Vm by Z. Therefore, Vm by, what is Z? Impedance. The equation is under root r square plus xc minus xl whole square, where tan phi is equal to xc minus xl by r, and phi is equal to tan inverse xc minus xl by r. So these are the solutions we got for the values Im, phi. So this is called analytical solution or analytical solution of the series LCR circuit. The next one we are going to see is resonance condition in the LCR circuit. Now we will see the resonance condition of the LCR circuit. What we can understand about the resonance? When inductor, capacitor, resistors are connected in series, which is connected to a AC power source, these LCR circuits have a tendency to oscillate at particular frequencies. This tendency is natural, not by forced. So that's why the frequency of the tendency to oscillate at natural level is called natural frequency. That means, I am repeating again, this LCR has the tendency, LCR circuit has the tendency to oscillate by its own at certain frequencies. This frequency is called natural frequency. First condition, natural frequency. Tendency to oscillate by own at certain frequencies. If any external energy is driven the LCR circuit, external energy is driven the LCR circuit, then the LCR is experiencing the forced oscillations. That oscillations will mix with the natural frequency, then the amplitude of the LCR circuit will be maximum. Therefore, external driven, or we can write like this. Driven force. So the external force which is applied on the LCR circuit in a form of AC circuit or in a form of any other thing. So an external source which drives the LCR circuit. So it's a natural frequency and this external frequency both will mix it out. If the both are at same, then the amplitude will be maximum. Amplitude. This is called resonance. What is the meaning of resonance? If two objects are vibrating with the same frequency, the resultant amplitude of the two sound waves or two mechanical waves is maximum. That condition is called resonance. In case of mechanics, the resonance depends upon the air column, but in case of electrical circuits, the resonance depends upon frequency. What is that frequency, what is the condition, and what is the impedance relation we are going to see now. We know that Im is equal to Vm by Z. This equation can be written like this: Vm by under root R square plus Xc minus XL whole square. If omega is varying, we can write if Xc is equal to XL, if omega is varying and if Xc is equal to XL, if I substitute the equation, therefore Z will become under root R square, nothing but R, means impedance is reduced here. In this case, maximum amplitude for the LCR circuit exists. Therefore, what is Xc? 1 by omega C. What is XL? Omega L. This refers to omega square is equal to 1 by LC. This refers to omega is equal to 1 by under root LC. This is the condition for resonance, and this is the formula to find out the resonance of the circuit. Resonance depends upon the L and C. L and C, they are out of phase actually. When an AC current is passing through the L and C, they will be in the out of phase. Only the resistance will be there. Then the resistance will be simplified to the impedance, and the maximum condition of amplitude occurs. Now we will see one problem based on this condition. See one problem which is related to the resonance condition. Resonance frequency of a circuit is F. If the capacitance is made 4 times, its initial value, then find the resonant frequency. So we know that F is equal to, or omega is equal to 1 by root LC. Capacitance is made 4 times, means C becomes 4C. Then what will be its new resonant frequency? Therefore, omega R F. In case of 1 by root LC, we can write proportional to 1 by root C. If it is proportional to 1 by root C, now the C becomes 4 times of the initial. Therefore, F proportional to 1 by root 4. What is 1 by root 4? 1 by 2. So, therefore, if capacitance increased by 4 times, frequency reduced by half. If capacitance increased by or increases by 4 times, then frequency becomes halved or half of the original. Now we will see sharpness of resonance. What is this sharpness, or what is the use of this sharpness? We are going to find out. We know that Im is equal to Vm by Z, and this equation will be turns like this: Vm by under root R square plus Xc minus XL whole square. I am writing Xc is equal to 1 by omega C. I am writing XL is equal to omega L. Therefore, Vm by under root R square plus 1 by omega C minus omega L whole square. Now, in this case, I am choosing another value of omega. For what? Power dissipation should be reduced to half and amplitude should be 1 by root 2 times of its original. So, I am taking the omega as omega naught plus delta W and omega naught minus delta W. This one is omega 1, this one is omega 2. omega 1 is equal to omega naught plus delta W. Omega 2 is equal to omega naught minus delta W. The difference between omega 1 minus omega 2 is 2 delta omega. What is this 2 delta omega? Bandwidth. This bandwidth gives what is the sharpness of resonance, from which value to which value the resonance effect will be maximum. That is the actual meaning of the bandwidth. Now I am substituting these omega 1 and omega c values in this equation. Now I am simply modifying this equation like this. Therefore, Im is equal to Vm by under root r square plus, if it is under the square, we can write omega L minus 1 by omega c also. But we have two omegas, omega 1 and omega 2. I am converting this to the omega 1 times. Therefore, at omega 1 L minus 1 by omega 1 c whole square. What is the equation actually? Im is equal to Vm by R. Im by root 2 is equal to Vm by R root. So therefore, we are equating this one as R root 2. So therefore, R square plus omega 1 L minus 1 by omega 1 c whole square under root is equal to R root. Now we should square on both sides. R square plus omega 1 L minus 1 by omega c whole square is equal to R root 2 whole square. This will become 2R square. And this R square and R square get cancelled out, we will get R square. Now I am writing this equation simplified. Omega 1 L minus 1 by omega 1 c whole square is equal to R square. So from this we can write omega n 1 L by 1 by omega 1 c is equal to R. So what is omega n? Omega naught plus delta W. I am substituting this omega 1 values. Therefore, omega naught plus delta W into L minus 1 by omega naught plus delta W into C is equal to R. Here I am taking omega naught as common. We will get 1 plus delta omega by omega naught into L minus 1 by, here also I am taking 1 by omega naught as common, get 1 plus delta omega by omega naught into C is equal to R. So we can write omega naught L into 1 plus delta omega by omega naught minus 1 by omega naught C into 1 plus delta omega by omega naught. Therefore, omega naught L into 1 plus delta omega by omega naught minus 1 by omega naught C into 1 plus delta omega by omega naught is equal to R. What is 1 by omega naught C? Nothing but omega naught L at the condition of resonance. So 1 by omega naught C also we can write omega naught L. Now I am converting this equation like this. Omega naught L into 1 plus delta omega by omega naught. 1 by omega naught C is omega naught L. That's why we can write minus omega naught L by 1 plus delta omega by omega naught is equal to R. Omega naught L into 1 plus delta omega by omega naught minus omega naught L into, this equation will be turned like this. So omega naught L into this 1 plus delta omega by omega naught goes up. Under the binomial expansion, it will go like this. 1 minus delta omega by omega naught is equal to R. So we can take omega naught L as common. 1 plus delta omega by omega naught minus 1 minus into minus plus delta omega by omega naught is equal to R. So omega naught L is equal to 1 and 1 minus 1 get cancelled. It will be 2 delta omega by omega naught is equal to R. So omega naught and omega naught will get cancelled. L into 2 delta omega is equal to R. Therefore delta omega is equal to R by 2L. What is this R by 2L? It's a bandwidth. Delta omega, omega 1 minus omega 2. So therefore it is equal to bandwidth. Now one more point is left in this problem, that is quality factor. Now we will see the sharpness of resonance or quality factor. Sharpness of resonance. Or quality factor. Q factor it is also called as. For that purpose I need this equation. So therefore omega naught L into 2 delta omega by omega naught is equal to R. And I am bringing this 2 delta omega by omega naught to the right hand side. Therefore omega naught L by R is equal to omega naught by 2 delta omega. This omega naught by 2 delta omega is called Q. Therefore Q is equal to omega naught L by R. What is Q? Quality factor. So these are the main terms which are related to the sharpness of resonance. This is bandwidth, means what is the range of the frequencies, and this is a quality factor which creates the sensitivity to absorb the resonance. Now we will discuss power in AC circuit and power factor. And power factor. We know that Im is equal to Vm by Z, and phi is equal to Xc minus XL by R. We know that power is equal to Vi. So power is equal to V means Vm sin omega t. What is I? Im sin omega t plus phi. Phase difference. This whole will become Im Vm into sin omega t into sin omega t plus phi. The P. If you do the calculation, the P value you will get is Im Vm by 2 into cos phi minus cos 2 omega t plus phi. Cos A minus B minus of cos A plus B. So this is the expression. So see the second term, cos 2 omega t plus phi. This term is dependent on time. The average value of this term will be 0. Therefore we can write average value of P is equal to Im Vm by 2 cos phi. We can write this one like this. Im by root 2 into Vm by root 2 cos phi. Im by root 2 is I, Vm by root 2 is V, RMS values. So Vi cos phi is equal to P. V is equal to IR. In place of R, we are introducing the concept of impedance. That's why P is equal to Iz into I cos phi I square z cos phi. This is the power. We got the final expression. Average value of P is equal to I square z cos phi. Now, what will be the power consumption in resistive circuits, capacitive circuits, inductive circuits, resonant circuits? We will see with the help of this equation. Now, we got P is equal to I square z cos phi. First case, resistive circuit. Means AC voltage is applied to the resistor. In case of resistive circuits, phi is equal to 0. Correspondingly, cos pi is equal to 1. Therefore, P is equal to I square z. It is nothing but maximum power. Maximum power dissipation will be there when phi is equal to 0. That means in case of resistive circuits, maximum power dissipates through resistors. So, in case of resistive circuits or where AC current is connected to the resistances, maximum power dissipates. Power dissipation. Now, one more, capacitive circuits. What is the meaning of capacitive circuit or inductive circuit? Capacitive circuit means we can say XC is greater than XL. In case of capacitive circuits and inductive circuits, or we can write R inductive circuits. In these two circuits, there is a phase difference between V and I. We know that. So, P is equal to I square z cos phi. What is the phase difference? 90 degrees. Lags by pi by 2 and leads by pi by 2. Therefore, average power dissipation through capacitive circuits or inductive circuits is 0 because phi is equal to 90 degrees. Correspondingly, cos phi is 0. And we are proving that average power dissipation is 0 in capacitive or inductive circuits. Means only capacitor is connected to the AC source, it is said to be capacitive. Only inductor is connected to the AC source, that is inductive circuits. Next conditions, we should see the LCR circuit and resonant circuit. Now we will see the power dissipation in LCR series circuit. So what is this LCR series circuit? In this case, we got that tan phi is equal to XC minus XL by R. So phi may be non-zero. Either it is XC greater than XL or XL greater than XC. It is a non-zero value, maybe less than 0 or greater than 0 values will exist in this case of phi. So therefore, what we can write through this one, we can write phi is equal to tan inverse XC minus XL by R. Correspondingly, we can say phi is non-zero. Therefore, P is equal to I square z cos phi. Phi is non-zero. Still also there is a chance for the power dissipation through R. Power dissipation through resistance. Next one, resonance circuit. Now we will see the power dissipation in series circuit. Resonance circuit. What is the resonance circuit condition? Phi is equal to tan inverse XC minus XL by R. In case of resonance, XC is equal to XL. That's why phi will becomes 0. Therefore, P is equal to I square Z cos pi. If pi becomes 0, cos pi is 1. So here also average power of P is equal to I square Z. So here what we can understand, maximum power dissipation will occur. Maximum power dissipation will occur because of this resonance condition. Now we will see one problem. It's a lengthy problem, but it has multiple options. A sinusoidal voltage of peak value 283 volts and frequency 50 Hz is applied to a series LCR circuit in which resistance R is equal to 3 ohms, inductance L is equal to 25.48 millihenry and capacitance is 796 microfarad. Find impedance of the circuit, phase difference between the voltage across the source and current, power dissipated in the circuit and power factor. So now we will find out one by one. Before going to that, please write what are the things it is there in the problem. So peak voltage Vm is 283 volts, frequency is 50 Hz, resistance is 3 ohms, inductance is 25.48 millihenry and capacitance is 796 microfarad. Now we will see what are the things we should find out. First one is impedance of the circuit. The formula of the impedance is under root R square plus XC minus XL whole square. What is XC? 1 by 2 pi FC. Nothing but 1 by omega C. So therefore 1 by 2 into 3.14 into frequency 50, capacitance 796. Microfarad means 10 power minus 6 farad. This 10 power minus 6 goes up. This is 4 ohms. This is the answer. Approximately the XC value we will get is 4 ohms. Next we will find out XL. This is nothing but omega L and 2 pi FC. Therefore 2 into 3.14 into what is F? Frequency is 50. What is C value? Capacitance is 796 microfarad. Approximately we will get 8 ohms. We have R value, we have XC, we have XL. Now we substitute in Z value. Therefore Z is equal to under root, what is R square? 3 square. What is XC? 4. What is XL? 8. So it will be 9 plus 4 minus 8 is minus 4. Minus 4 whole square is 16. So under root 25 is 5 ohms. So this is the impedance of the circuit, 5 ohms. Next we will find out phase difference between the voltage across the source and current. Next we will find out phase difference. Phi is equal to tan inverse XC minus XL by R. Therefore phi is equal to tan inverse. What is XC? 4. What is XL? 8. What is R? 3. So the answer is tan inverse minus 4 by 3. Therefore, phi is equal to minus 53.1 degree. This is the phase difference. Next, we will see the power dissipated. What is the formula of power dissipation? I square R. But we know that I is equal to Im by root 2, V is equal to Vm by root 2. So therefore, we can find out Im is equal to Vm by root 2 Z. Therefore, I is equal to, what is the maximum voltage? 283. What is the Z? 5 into 1 by root 2. So finally, you will get it is 40 amperes. Therefore, power is equal to I square Z. I square means 40 whole square into impedance Z is equal to 3. 1600 into 3, 4800. We can write 4.8 kilowatts. Last one is power factor. Power factor is equal to cos phi, because P is equal to I square Z cos phi. So therefore, cos of minus 53.1 degrees, approximately this is equal to 0. Next concept we will see is LC oscillations. So what is LC oscillation? When capacitor and inductor is connected together, then what will be the oscillating frequency and how the circuit will behave, we are going to see now. So therefore, first of all, the construction of the circuit is like this: capacitor, inductor. CL. Whenever these two are connected together, actually their voltage equation is L into di by dt minus Q by C is equal to 0. But whenever an AC source is connected to the capacitor, capacitor first charges. It fills the charge or it stores the charge. The excess of the charge they will pass to the inductor. So that's why what we are saying is Q by C minus L into di by dt is equal to 0. As the phase reverses, the equation will change like this. Is equal to 0. Now, what we can understand? Di by dt minus Q by LC is equal to 0. What we can understand? Di by dt is d square Q by dt square minus 1 by LC into Q is equal to 0. So here, as the phase reverses, this minus will become plus, and here also plus, and here also plus. This will become, this is similar to d square x by dt square plus omega naught square x is equal to 0. So in place of x we have Q. In place of omega naught square we have 1 by LC. Therefore, omega naught is equal to 1 by root LC. This is the resonant frequency of the LC circuit. But what is the charge passing through these two objects? Qm sine omega t plus phi. Between L and C, phi is 0. Therefore, Q is equal to Qm sine omega t. And I is equal to Im cos omega t. Now, let us visualize how this charge transfers from a capacitor to the inductor with respect to the difference time intervals and the energy stored in the capacitor. Now we are trying to visualize the charge in between C and L. Now we will see, whenever switch is open, capacitor gets charged. So whenever the switch is open, capacitor starts to charge itself. In this case, the total energy of the circuit is simply the energy stored in the capacitor, because if charge is transferred to inductor, then only some magnetic energy will be created inside the inductor. Therefore, total energy due to capacitance or nothing but the energy stored in the capacitor is, we can write Q square by 2C. And energy stored due to the magnetic field is 0. This condition is almost equal to a spring just loaded, and it is just expanding. Now the switch is closed. This is switch open, switch closed. Whenever the switch is closed, capacitor starts to discharge. Discharge means the sum of its charge, which is already stored inside it, transfers to the inductor. Whenever an inductor receives the charge, inside the inductor there is a magnetic field will be created. Therefore, the energy stored inside the inductor is half Li square. It is due to the magnetic field or induced magnetic field inside the inductor. Here also E is not equal to 0 and B is not equal to 0. Therefore, energy is half Li square. In this case, it will behave like this. Just compressed. First it is elongated, next compressing. Finally, we will get a resonance condition. Now, we will see the one more situation in this charging. We are discussing about the closed switch condition. So in this case, we have already discussed that there is a possibility for the storage of magnetic energy. Once the charge is continuously transferred to the inductor, this inductor can store the maximum magnetic energy. Therefore, UB is half Li square maximum. It stores the maximum magnetic energy. Means there is no further charge in the capacitor. This maximum magnetic energy, which should be equal to the maximum electrical energy. Therefore, UB is equal to the UE. So because magnetic field and electric field and their energies are corresponding to each other by a tangent angle. So that's why what we can understand, magnetic energy, maximum magnetic energy is equal to maximum electrical energy. Then capacitor starts to charge again. It is now under the charging. So like that, this state is almost equal to the compressed state of the spring. It is compressing, and here it is acts like fully twisted and compressed spring. So like that, the variations in the energies, magnetic energies and electrical energies is possible in L and C conditions. Now we are going to check some analogous and similarities between the mechanical circuits and electrical circuits. Now we will see the analogous between mechanical systems and electrical systems. Mechanical systems and electrical systems. Let us compare the electrical systems, maybe an LCR circuit, LC circuit or CR circuit with simple pendulum and oscillating pendulums. The pendulums are under the mechanical systems, LCR and the circuits are under the electrical systems. We can write pendulum is one example. Here we can write LCR, LR, CR circuits. The first point was over. What about the second point? Mechanical systems has mass M. The mass of the mechanical systems is similar to the inductance of the electrical systems, L. So the second point was also over. Third one, force constant. In case of mechanical systems, force constant is minus kx. In case of electrical system, it is equal to the 1 by c. Fourth one, displacement. The displacement in the mechanical systems we can write x. This displacement is similar to the charge in electrical systems. Next one, velocity. We can write it as dx by dt, and this velocity is similar to the current, nothing but dq by dt. Last one, energy. Here it is total mechanical energy, there is a total electrical energy. In mechanical energy, we are writing half kx square plus half mv square, where kx square is equal to P of the spring, half mv square is the Ke of the spring. But in electrical systems, the energy is half Li square plus half Q square by C. Therefore, we can write half kx square plus half mv square in mechanical systems. In case of electrical systems, we can write half Li square plus half Q square by C. These are the similarities between mechanical systems and electrical systems. Now we are going to check the construction of transformers and the coils. Next we will discuss about transformers. What is the meaning of transforms? So what it will be? It is necessary to convert or transfer the potentials or EMFs from one region to the another region. We can say like that, low region to the high region or low potential to the high potentials. Actually it is difficult, but by using the transformers it is made easy. So transformers are useful to change the level of the potentials from low level to high level or low EMF to high EMF. So what is the structure of transformers first of all? It has two coils, primary coil and secondary coil. Let us write this one as primary coil. And it has one more coil, that is secondary coil. In electromagnetic induction, we have discussed that to increase the induced EMF, we should increase the number of turns in a coil in case of mutual induction or self-induction. So, the principle mutual induction is the uses of transformer. That means the mutual induction principle is useful in the transformer. Transformers are working on the basis of mutual induction. The number of turns in the primary coil, let us write NP. The number of turns in the secondary coil, which are dotted by the dotted lines, let us say NS. So, this primary coil has some EMF, this secondary coil also has some EMF. So, there is a possibility for the flux linkage. What is the meaning of flux linkage? Primary coil, whenever it is connected to the power source, it always expels the electric field lines through the unit surface area. That's why this flux creates the induced EMF in the secondary coil. By varying the turns, we can convert the transformers into step up or step down. So, we are going to write the equations for the flux linkage with respect to the primary coils and secondary coils. Now, we are applying the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction for this EMFs. Let us write the EMF to the primary coil. You can write minus NP into d phi by dt. Let us write the flux through the secondary coil. ES is equal to minus NS into d phi by dt. We know that ES is equal to Vs, comma EP is equal to Vp. Therefore, we can write Vp is equal to minus NP into d phi by dt, and Vs is equal to minus Ns into d phi by dt. Now I am going to write the equation for Vp by Vs. So what will you get Vp by Vs? Np by Ns. Ns. So what is the power rating, power assumption, power dissipation? P is equal to Vi. So power dissipation through secondary coil is equal to VSIS. Power dissipation through primary coil is equal to VPIP. Next, we are going to find out PP by PS. That is nothing but VP IP by VS IS. So what is Vp by Vs? We can write Np by Ns. So we got some relations. Vs by Vp is equal to Ns by Np. Let us write the power to the primary coil is equal to power to the secondary coil. So therefore, Ip Vp is equal to Is Vs. So Vs by Vp is equal to Ip by Is. Already Vs by Vp we got as Ns by Np. Therefore, we can extend the relation like this. Vs by Vp is equal to Ip by Is is equal to Ns by Np. Therefore, Vs by Vp is equal to Ns by Np. Vs is equal to Ns by Np into Vp. Such like that, Vp is equal to Np by Ns into Vs. Vs is voltage through secondary coil, Vp is voltage through primary coil. Ns number of turns in secondary, Np number of turns in primary. And I said that there is a variation in the turns in the secondary coil to the primary coil. What is that variation and how that expressions will be turns to be. Now, what is the difference between the coils? See, if secondary coil turns are greater than the primary coil turns, means the number of turns in the secondary coil are greater than the number of turns in primary coil, we can say this as step up transformer. See here, Ns is greater than Np. So what is voltage through secondary coil? Ns greater than Np means Vs also greater than Vp, more than 1 unit. That is one information. If Ns is less than Np or Np greater than Ns, means number of turns in the secondary coil is less than number of turns in the primary coil, this is step down transformer. See here, if Ns is greater than Np, this is a step up transformer, and Vs greater than Vp, and Ns less than Np here. Ns less than Np means Vp greater than Vs, means voltage through primary coil greater than voltage through secondary coil. But Vs by Vp is equal to Ip by Is. Therefore, Vs is inversely proportional to 1 by Is. Vp is inversely proportional to Ip. If Vp should be greater than Vs, then the current through the primary coil should be less. If Vs should be greater than Vp, current through the secondary coil should be less. So this is the information about the relationship between Ns and Np and corresponding Vs, Vp and Ip and Is. Now this whole is explained on the basis of ideal construction of the transformer. This transformer has metal core. If once it is a metal, it has resistance, there is a flux leakage, there is a eddy currents will be developed. All these we are not considering. If you consider all these things, then what will be the remedies for this consideration we are going to discuss now. While we are finding or dealing with the secondary currents or primary currents in the transformer, there is a problem with 4 leakages. First one is flux leakage. In transformer core, we have discussed that this is a primary coil and this is a secondary coil. Because of the gap between the primary coil to the secondary coil and the air gap between these two coils, and sometimes there is a cracks on this metal core, soft metal core, there is a problem of the flux leakage. If the flux is leakaged, this therefore Vs is equal to Ns into d phi by dt, or Vp is equal to Np into d phi by dt, there is a possibility for the voltage change because flux is leaking. Therefore, we are not getting the correct voltage in the experiment. So how to reduce this effect? There should be no gap. These two coils are winding one over on another. Winding should be one over another. This is one. Second one, resistance. See, the inner transformer core is a metal core. The wire windings are also made up of metals. All are having resistance in it. In this case also there is a problem with the voltage because V is proportional to R, resistance of the material. In this case, we should remove or reduce the effect of resistance. By which way? We can use the thick wires. By using thick wires, we can control the effect of resistance in the result in case of transformers. The third one is eddy currents. Because of this eddy current, there is an oscillation in the frequency of the voltage sources. Eddy current means there is two magnetic poles. One metal is pivoted like this and it will oscillate like this. This is eddy current. How to remove these eddy currents of this metal core? By arranging the lamination of the core. Laminated, or if core is laminated, there is a much effective reduction in the eddy currents. Last one, hysteresis. So what is the meaning of hysteresis? So if a magnetic behavior is there inside the materials, if these magnetic materials can keep the retentivity, what is the meaning of retentivity? In the absence of magnetic field also, up to some time there is a possibility for the storage of magnetic fields. So this hysteresis curve is there for each and every magnetic material, that is called as BH curve. How to reduce this hysteresis effect? Because of this hysteresis magnetic effects, always the field direction will be reversed. It will be a big problem in finalizing the answers. So that's why we should use a low hysteresis materials. Low hysteresis materials by removing the hysteresis effects. So resistance, by using the thick wires we can eliminate. Winding should be one over another, means primary coil and secondary coil both should be one over another, overlapping it in a simple word. Eddy currents, the core should be laminated. This is the core, okay, this is the core. Without windings, we can assume the core, metallic core, and hysteresis we can reduce by using the low hysteresis magnetic materials. This is the construction about the transformers.